Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Just Immigration News. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about Joe Biden shocks the US with new reform. In a move that has caught many off guard, President Joe Biden has unveiled a new reform that promises to reshape key aspects of American policy. This unexpected development is sparking intense debate and speculation across the nation, as stakeholders and citizens alike await further details on how this change will impact their lives and the country's future. If you are interested in this, so to get all the information, pay attention and watch the video through to the end. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. So, without any further delay, let's jump into the video. In recent headlines, much of the attention has been focused on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, yet, as President Joe Biden nears the end of his term, he is making headlines with a bold and unexpected proposal that is capturing the nation's attention. Whether one supports or opposes him, Joe Biden remains a significant figure in American politics, and his latest move is poised to stir up considerable debate as he approaches the final stretch of his presidency. Biden is taking steps that are both ambitious and contentious. His recent proposal seeks to address long-standing issues related to the Supreme Court, an institution that has become increasingly controversial under his administration. The proposal includes several key elements: implementing term limits for Supreme Court justices, instituting a binding code of ethics, and introducing a constitutional amendment that would eliminate any immunity for presidents current or former against criminal prosecution for actions taken while in office. This amendment, aptly named "No One is Above the Law," is a direct response to a recent Supreme Court ruling that declared former President Donald Trump immune from prosecution for actions performed during his presidency. The context of Biden's proposal. The timing of Biden's proposal is notable. It comes in the wake of the Supreme Court's controversial decision in early July, which absolved Trump of criminal liability related to official acts carried out during his presidency. This ruling has reignited discussions about presidential accountability and judicial oversight. Biden's proposal is designed to remind the American public of these debates and signal his administration's commitment to reforming the judicial system. The Supreme Court's recent actions have fueled Biden's criticism and his drive for reform. He argues that the court's decisions have undermined important progressive policies and that a more accountable and ethical judiciary is necessary to restore balance and fairness. His proposal to impose term limits on justices and establish a binding code of ethics is aimed at ensuring that the Supreme Court operates with greater transparency and accountability by limiting the tenure of justices. Biden hopes to prevent the entrenchment of any one ideological perspective and encourage a more dynamic and responsive judicial branch. A Supreme Court start. Implications of term limits and a binding code of ethics. The proposed reforms are particularly significant in light of recent Supreme Court decisions that have sparked intense criticism from Biden and his supporters. The conservative majority court has repealed key federal protections, including those related to abortion and affirmative action, and struck down Biden's student debt relief program. Each of these decisions has had far-reaching implications, shaping the political and social landscape in ways that Biden's administration has vehemently opposed. The term limits proposal is designed to address concerns about the long-term influence of any single justice on the Supreme Court by imposing limits on how long justices can serve. Biden aims to ensure that the court's composition remains more representative of contemporary values and legal perspectives. Critics argue that term limits could disrupt the court's stability and continuity, but supporters contend that they could enhance the court's responsiveness to evolving societal norms and legal interpretations. Similarly, the binding code of ethics proposed by Biden seeks to enforce higher standards of conduct for Supreme Court justices. This measure would require justices to adhere to ethical guidelines that govern their behavior in decision-making processes. The goal is to increase transparency and accountability within the judiciary, addressing concerns about potential conflicts of interest and biases that could affect the court's rulings, while some view this as a necessary step toward restoring public trust in the judiciary. Others fear that it could impinge on the court's independence and discretion. The constitutional amendment on presidential immunity. The proposed constitutional amendment, which seeks to remove presidential immunity from criminal prosecution, is a particularly provocative element of Biden's reform package. This proposal addresses concerns that high-ranking officials, including presidents, should not be above the law. It is a response to the perception that Trump was shielded from accountability due to his position, particularly in light of the legal challenges and scandals that have plagued his presidency. By advocating for this amendment, Biden aims to ensure that no individual, regardless of their office or status, can evade justice for actions taken while in power. The implications of this amendment are significant and far-reaching. If enacted, it would set a precedent for holding presidents accountable for their actions, potentially affecting future administrations and altering the balance of power between the executive branch and the judicial system. Critics of the amendment argue that it could create a climate of constant legal scrutiny for presidents, potentially undermining their ability to govern effectively. Supporters, however, believe that it is essential to maintain the principle that no one is above the law. Challenges in implementing the reforms. However, turning these proposals into law will be a formidable challenge. The process of amending the Constitution and implementing judicial reforms requires significant legislative support. Biden's proposals would need to pass both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and securing the necessary two-thirds majority in both chambers is a daunting task. The political climate in Washington is highly polarized, and achieving bipartisan support for such sweeping changes may prove difficult. Furthermore, Biden's proposal is likely to face resistance from those who argue that it undermines the independence of the judiciary. Critics may contend that imposing term limits and ethical standards on Supreme Court justices could compromise the court's ability to function impartially. They may also argue that eliminating presidential immunity could set a troubling precedent, potentially subjecting future presidents to legal battles that could disrupt their ability to govern effectively. Political implications and future prospects. As the political landscape continues to evolve, Biden's proposal will undoubtedly become a focal point of debate and discussion. The upcoming election cycle will likely see intensified arguments and strategic maneuvering from both parties. Trump's camp will likely seize on Biden's reform efforts to rally their base and highlight what they view as Biden's overreach, while Biden and Kamala Harris will use the proposal to emphasize their commitment to judicial reform and accountability. This renewed focus on Supreme Court reform and presidential accountability is a reflection of broader concerns about the balance of power and the integrity of American institutions. As Biden's presidency winds down, his proposal serves as both a legacy-defining move and a strategic play in the ongoing political battle. Whether or not these reforms will be enacted remains uncertain, but Biden's push for change underscores the contentious and evolving nature of American politics. In summary, Joe Biden's recent proposal to reform the Supreme Court and address presidential immunity has set the stage for a significant political showdown. While the proposal aims to address pressing issues related to judicial accountability and executive power, its success will depend on the ability to garner sufficient support in a divided Congress as the debate unfolds. It will be crucial to consider the implications of these proposed changes and their potential impact on the future of American governance. As the dust settles from President Joe Biden's surprising announcement, the implications of this new reform will soon become clearer, with reactions ranging from cautious optimism to outright skepticism. The coming days will be crucial in determining the true impact of this policy shift. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor the unfolding developments and analyze how this reform could alter the American landscape. That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
Hello everyone, welcome back to channel Just Immigration News. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about Joe Biden shocks the US with new reform. As President Joe Biden approaches the final months of his term, he has introduced a sweeping and controversial proposal aimed at reforming the Supreme Court and reducing presidential immunity. The proposal includes three key components: term limits for Supreme Court justices, a binding code of ethics, and a constitutional amendment to remove immunity for presidents against criminal prosecution for actions taken while in office. This amendment, named "No One Is Above the Law," responds to a recent Supreme Court ruling that declared former President Donald Trump immune from prosecution for official acts committed during his presidency. Biden's push for reform comes in response to recent Supreme Court decisions that have overturned key federal protections and policies supported by his administration, including anti-abortion rights, affirmative action in college admissions, and Biden's student debt relief program. These decisions have fueled Biden's criticism of the court, prompting him to advocate for measures that he believes will restore balance and accountability to the judiciary. These decisions have fueled Biden's criticism of the court, prompting him to advocate for measures that he believes will restore balance and accountability to the judiciary. Implementing these reforms poses significant challenges. Constitutional amendments and major judicial changes require substantial legislative support, needing a two-thirds majority in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. The current polarized political climate makes bipartisan support for such sweeping changes uncertain. Additionally, Biden's proposal faces criticism from those who argue that it could undermine the Supreme Court's independence and disrupt the balance of power. Critics also worry that removing presidential immunity could subject future presidents to constant legal scrutiny. Critics also worry that removing presidential immunity could subject future presidents to constant legal scrutiny, potentially hindering their ability to govern effectively. As the proposal sets the stage for intense political debate, its future remains uncertain. Biden's push highlights the ongoing struggle over judicial authority and executive accountability, reflecting broader concerns about the integrity of American institutions and the evolving nature of political discourse.